So lately, every conversation that I'm hearing is either about jinn or marriage. So today I want to talk about 6 main causes of our marriage crisis today, right? And along with some solutions. You hear a lot of people going through this struggle, and you hear a lot of reassurance, right? That inshallah someday it'll happen for you. Inshallah someday you'll find this perfect person for you. But marriage isn't necessarily written for everyone, right? It is not necessarily in everyone's risk to get married. Right, so for example, if you look at the beautiful souls in Gaza, right, these are people of Jannah without a doubt. And a lot of them, they'll never get their dream car, their dream house, their dream spouse, right? A lot of them, on top of living in such harsh conditions already, it seems like things only get worse and then they die. As a Muslim, we understand that on the Day of Judgment, their reward will be so great that the people witnessing their reward will wish that they could go back and be tested the same way. And they will wish that their skin was cut with scissors and knives so that they could get the reward that these people have gotten. Now, everyone should try to pursue marriage because it is a beautiful sunnah and it completes half your deen. But it's not necessarily a bad thing if you are unable to or if you are struggling. It doesn't mean that you're useless or you're unlovable. We will all have our perfect spouse in Jannah. So don't ever lose hope. But today I want to briefly talk about 6 major causes that I'm seeing that are causing this huge marriage crisis in our ummah. There's more unmarried Muslims today than ever before. And so number 1, obviously one of the biggest marriage problems today is the internet, for so many reasons, right? I'm not going to get into detail, but just the internet. Any young child has access to anything he wants to see on the internet. So we need to be mindful. This starts at a very young age. It psychologically damages you from a very young age. And so especially as parents, we need to make sure to monitor our children, right? Because this will give unrealistic expectations and it also closes off the risk, right? So we have to be mindful of what we're viewing on the internet at all times. And I will say, mashallah, I've seen a lot of parents do a great job at monitoring this. They have a great job at balancing video games and things. Number 2 is social media. Social media made zina very easy. With social media, you can pretend to be someone you're not, right? You can connect with people, you can connect with the opposite gender very easily, right? Because back then you had to at least work up the courage to get to know someone's family and move on, and there was a whole process, right? But today you just swipe right? So social media has made these things too easy. You don't even have to learn social skills anymore. The opposite gender should not be so easily accessible, but on top of that, and by proxy, it increases in a major sin, right? And the problem with increasing in your major sins, whatever all of the major sins are, stay away from all of the major sins, because major sins bring hardship into your life. Major sins bring hardship and calamity into your life. You are asking Allah for hardship when you're committing major sins. And a lot of times, there's a permanence to major sins. Number 3, the parents making nikah difficult. Now, this isn't easy for me to say because I have nothing but respect for parents. I don't disrespect my elders. I don't tell them what to do. I don't go around correcting people. When you make the halal difficult, you make the haram easy. When you make nikah difficult, the doors of zina and the doors of haram become easy. And don't think that someone is above that because they're a pious Muslim. You don't know how people can fall into this trap, and you have to make sure that these measures are in place at all times. Number 4, backbiting and slander. Backbiting is when you say something about someone that is true, but they wouldn't want you to say that behind their back. And slander is when you're saying something that's just straight up a lie. So you're telling a story about someone and then you add your spin on it. That extra spin that you're adding on it, that's slander. It's okay to want what people want, but jealousy is when you want what they want, but you don't want them to have it. So destroying the reputation of others, right? You don't know someone's connection with Allah. You don't know how this person repents behind closed doors. You don't know Allah may have forgiven them years ago. So who are we to bring up someone's past over and over again, remind them of it, hold them accountable for it? This happens often, where if two families are meeting for the sake of marriage, things don't work out, that's okay, right? Sometimes you just have differences and it doesn't work out for whatever reason. The problem is that when you talk about it, you make it sound so much more dramatic than it is. You try to make it sound so much more interesting. You add your own little opinions on it, and it destroys the reputation of their family, and it destroys the reputation of your family. When in fact, their family could have been something good. Maybe someone in your family could have eventually married someone in their family. And it's like you're closing doors, You're burning these bridges for what reason? To tell an interesting story, to feel good about yourself. There's no need to backbite about these things, right? They should be kept private, and we should protect the reputations of our Muslim brothers and sisters. And we should be easygoing with people. Don't be so harsh in your judgment with people. Number 5, a big reason, right? Finances. A lot of people, I've seen 50K marriage, 50K wedding, right? There's no reason to pay that much. I've seen people, like, we can't even afford eggs, and people want 50K for a wedding. It's a lot, but I'm gonna cut people some slack. And I'm gonna blame a lot of the financial issues on the economy. I understand it is difficult to get a decent job. I've seen people struggle, people who have all the credentials and they still struggle to get a job, so I get it. And this one, I will definitely give some of the blame to just the economy. So it's not that people are being too picky, it's just that things are actually getting more expensive now, unfortunately. I will say this, if you're struggling financially and you want to get married, or you're not really sure, then consider that marriage opens your financial risk, right? Risk is from Allah. So marriage will open this financial risk for you, inshallah. If you move forward for the sake of Allah, then He will increase you. But obviously do your due diligence, right? Work hard, work consistently, don't waste your time. The Prophet ﷺ was not poor. Right? He worked hard, he was a businessman, but he was very humble. But Prophet ﷺ was not poor. It's good to earn so you can give more. The hand that gives is better than the hand that receives. And make sure you also give your zakat and your sadaqah, because for a lot of us, we cannot guarantee that our income is 100% halal, right? How much of our tax, what our tax goes into. So we need to give that zakat and that sadaqah to purify our wealth. Number 6, a lot of people have unrealistic expectations and they are unable to compromise on anything. It's almost delusional for some people. We're willing to compromise on nothing. No one wants to compromise on anything, right? What happened to growing together, to building something together, right? Uplifting one another. Everyone wants this perfect, finished product of a human being. Also, I'm not talking about any specific gender or group of people or group of age or anything. I'm just talking in general. Right, but I've also heard guys describe what they want, and they want someone that's absolutely perfect, and they have to be this, and they have to be that, and they themselves don't work on themselves at all. They look like burnt chicken nugget. They don't take care of their fitness whatsoever. So you have to do your part as well. And also recognize what good people even look like. Don't just look at someone and think that this person is too boring, or this person is this and that. A lot of times, you're asking for a pious spouse. But a lot of times, a pious spouse they don't know what to do with flowers if you give them flowers. They're just staying at home sleeping for the most part. They're rewatching The Office for the 10th time. This is what a pious spouse actually looks like. A lot of times, we need to be able to identify Allah's blessings sometimes. And so for the second part of this khutbah, I want to give a quick reminder to fast for the 6 days of Shawwal. Fast any 6 days this month of Shawwal, and it will count as if you have fasted for the entire year. A lot of us have major sins. A lot of us, our risk is closed off, and for a lot of us, we desperately need this reward. So please fast for the 6 days of Shawwal. Any 6 days this month of Ramadan, it counts for the entire year.